A very, very, very warm welcome to you, Preeti, on the call.
Hi, Vijaya. So good to speak to you, and so good to have people from every country joining in. So good evening, good morning, good afternoon.
Definitely, we were looking forward to this call for a long time, so I'm glad you finally made it. Unfortunately, for the party, though, that we earned a lot of political capital in the last 3 weeks, and suddenly it's shaken. How do you perceive this setback, Preeti?
I think that the Delhi victory which we had is monumental in Indian history
Right,
because never has a political party been voted back into power based on the incredible work that it has done. So the Delhi model is still a sterling model. Right now, just today, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra also said that he would like to adopt the Delhi model. So we've
right,
done some exemplar work in Delhi, and not just that, we've come back into power in the after fighting this titan BJP, which had every kind of resource at its disposal. They had every kind of weapon in their arsenal. They could say what they want. They could cross boundaries, and they got away with just murder. Election Commission would just give them a rap on their knuckles and let them go. But
absolutely.
despite that, the Delhi work stood up for itself, and it brought us back into power with such a huge mandate that we won 90% of the seats. So,
Okay.
though there has been a setback in terms of the turmoil that Delhi has gone through and the perception of the party and its role in kind of mitigating the situation, what we have achieved is something that's incredible, and it's going to be a page in history forever. And over the next few months, as the Delhi government begins to do more and more work, I think we will win back the goodwill of all people back. I'm sure that's going to come around.
Thanks a lot for that positive reply. I believe so too, but somehow, the trust factor, it always gets shaken up every time something like this happens. The party, of course, bounces back, and I'm hopeful this it will happen this time too. But Congress seems to be succeeding a bit in by portraying BJP, Aam Aadmi Party as a B party of BJP, which it has been doing for the last 6 years and not succeeding. But now they seem to have a edge. What do you say, Preeti? How do you see that?
See, I'd like to first comment on the fact that you said about the trust factor. Now,
Yeah,
AAP has two advantages or disadvantages, you could call them anyway. One is that we are a disruptor in the political ecosystem of India.
right,
So nobody likes us, neither the bureaucracy, nor the media, nor the people who gain from the nepotism that used to work around the Congress and the BJP. So whether it's
right,
the Congress or the BJP or the Samajwadi Party, most of these parties are part of the same political culture, or I'd rather say lack of culture. And we are a disruptor, we are a rank outsider, which is not part of the ecosystem. We don't grant favors, we don't ask for favors. So when
right,
you see a lot of hatred against us from eminent people who claim to behave as if they are neutral, but actually they've all been part of the Congress ecosystem, and they've got huge benefits from that. So they target us first. So they may sound like liberals, but most of them have been beneficiaries, and you've heard the Radia tapes. You've seen how they're directly involved in making deals between private players and between different political parties. So they have lost all of that. So when the Congress went down, it was not just a political party that went down, it was a nepotism plagued ecosystem that went down. So
right,
because of that, because we are rank outsiders who are not allowing that system to come back, they hate us. That's one
yeah,
reason, and therefore they write us off very easily. The second
right,
reason is, which I think is actually a good reason, that our followers are not blind bucks. People who support the Aam Aadmi Party, people like you, Vijaya, people who have a very high level of integrity and a very high aspirational level of where the country must go. So because our
absolutely,
ideals are so high, we are very we get very upset when something mars the picture even slightly, because we're not here for political gain. None of us here
absolutely,
are actually, none of you, especially people living abroad, are going to get anything at all from supporting the Aam Aadmi Party, other than a
absolutely,
hope that India will be a better country in the future and people will not have to leave the country just to get a better life for their children. So, other than that hope for your countrymen, you don't want anything. And therefore, your judgment usually is on a very high standard. It's not an
right,
easy standard to live up to, but it should be there. Because with that standard in mind, We sometimes reach it, we sometimes don't. But at least we know we've set our bar very high. So that's why AAP is written off very often, sometimes by the Congress ecosystem, which still controls largely the whole media, and sometimes by our own people who have such high standards. But I don't think AAP is going to be written off at all. AAP is going to become a very big force in the coming years. I have faith. And it takes time. We are very young still. We are still a startup. And we still have the pains of a startup. But we'll get through this.
Yeah, thanks a lot for calling that off, Preeti. It's amazing for me also as a journalist to watch so many liberals exposing themselves as Congress supporters. Though they have been, covering it well, even the media, but even the media like Wire and Print and all, they are exposing themselves quickly now. Preeti, we have several callers on our call. I will give them an opportunity to ask you questions as well, and then I'll come back to you. There's lots for us to discuss. So dear friends, do we have any questions right away?
This is Dr.
Yeah, this is
Grewal. I have the question.
Yes, Dr. Grewal.
The question I have is because I would like to get some insight response from you because you are very much involved in all those local politics and policies. In my opinion, Aam Aadmi Party won really good, and the people did respond very good. But I think in this situation in New Delhi, I feel that we are a little behind on the. We did not respond the way we should. That's my feeling because because I have nothing to do with the. I have nothing to gain anything, but I'm supporting because I want the equal and opportunity for everybody.
Mr. Grewal, for the amazing work that he did in Delhi. He spent so many days on the ground during the election. So thank you, and thank all of you who came. And he worked very closely with me and with Prithvi's team. And I mean, all day, all night, he was out there with his bag on his shoulder, campaigning in the dust. You know what I feel? I feel that when there is something as heartbreaking and heart-wrenching as a riot, no party can come out smelling of roses from it. So I cannot say with, full confidence that yes, what we did was fantastic. No. I think everybody failed. Some failed more than the others. Some failed lesser. But yes, I feel that all political leadership of India failed because if the leadership really could have stopped a riot, that would have been an ideal scenario. I also feel that to some extent we were unprepared for it completely. We never thought in the wildest imagination that such a thing will come. We have never experienced it. We didn't know how to react. And what seemed from outside is our lack of ability to go to the riot areas. The real ground reality was, and you can talk with this young person who, Shaleen, who is always, and you must get him on Aapka Radio, that boy is incredible. He was trying to get ambulances and fire brigades inside that area, but they wouldn't even allow that. They wouldn't even allow government ambulances. They wouldn't even allow fire brigades to go in because they needed police cover and the police was refusing to cover. And the commissioner, we were trying to talk to him and he was offering no support for the chief minister to travel over there. And, at that time, you're always in two minds. You can be brazen and just go out there without the support of the police and without their, kind of approval. And then if some situation escalates, then everybody would blame, see, Arvind Kejriwal ne jaake wahan pe aur aag lagai. What was his need to go when Delhi was burning? Couldn't he sit back and let the police work?
Exactly.
So it was such a trying time for us to try and figure out what to do. And on the first day, we tried to call the commissioner. We spoke to him once. Arvind spoke to him once. Then we spoke to the lieutenant governor once. After which we kept asking for more forces because clearly what we could see on the first day was the inaction of the police. Police was haath pe haath rakhe, kind of, they were just watching the whole riot unfold. And therefore we kept asking for more forces. And on that first day itself, Gopal Rai ji, as well as some other ministers and MLAs, waited for the LG till 4 a.m. in the morning. And he didn't meet us. So our situation of helplessness was acute. It's difficult to explain this to non-AAP people. I don't think they would understand. We didn't want to aggravate the situation. We didn't want to add fuel to the fire. But we wanted to go there and calm people down, but we didn't know whether our presence there would calm people down or whether it would provoke people.
Right.
So it was a very, very tough time. And we we try to be as calm as possible, and we try to get in just ambulances and look after the hospitals rather than go into the front lines and provoke people. And perhaps that did not go very well with some people. I'm quite sure maybe there could have been something better that was done. I mean, everybody is left wanting. I don't deny it. I mean, it was a very, very big tragedy, and I don't think we did our best.
I think most people are still not aware that Delhi is a half state, it's not a full state, and people do not understand.
I completely understand, but the thing is, if people vote for us, you are like, even though it was a burning, not calling the LG or calling the commissioner. What I'm saying is, your statement should be. I mean, I still believe that the statement should be out, and even the police. I mean, we are claiming that we did a CCTV cameras, and we should have a footage. We should put that police people who are providing the stones in that category. We should give that one because people need because that's not a we can say, oh, we are helpless, and the next time they will not vote for, because then they will be, because fear will go deeper. They'll say, okay, why we should vote for the person who cannot stand for us? Then let's go with the bully.
Okay, yeah, Preeti. So, this is
Uh,
like definitely a complex situation for us because now that we have exposed our weaknesses, I think any other party, even if Congress today wins, it's going to be the same situation. So, yes, people will wonder why not vote for BJP then if it's the only party that's controlling at the center too.
No, I think that, coming from what we have just passed through, the most trying time, I think we will be better equipped in the future to deal with any kind of rising violence. We'll be able to stop it maybe a little faster. But I think what we can do now and what we are trying to do is ensure that we can heal the wounds of the people who have been injured, who have lost people, and who have lost their lives and their belongings in, the valuables, the houses. So, and that we are doing a remarkable job. Unfortunately, I think the news is still not going out very clearly. I mean, can you imagine that this is the first time in riot hit places where compensation of 25,000 rupees ad hoc is being given cash in hand to everybody
Absolutely.
without any question. Okay,
Absolutely.
and then they are going to get another 2 lakh, 5 lakh, 10 lakh based on the valuation that is done of the damage and the extent of their property. So the way that Delhi, hats off to those 18 SDMs and their teams and the chief minister who's managing them. They are on the ground at least 14 hours a day, every day, ensuring that people are rehabilitated as soon as possible. I don't think ever in my living memory have I seen such immediate relief reach victims of a communal riot. Relief reaches, natural calamities. But when it's
Yes.
a communal riot, governments are very, very reluctant to figure out who the deserving people are. And, there's always a bias. But here, without bias, without any, differentiation between people, our teams are out there delivering justice, delivering any kind of solace that they can to the people. So I think that if we can do, and that is the advice I would give to, and we have been talking to the MLAs and everybody, that if we can at least help heal the wounds and ensure that future things like this don't happen, and that is why the Aman committee was formed,
Right.
and they are down on the ground talking to people daily, trying to get gully by gully, lane by lane, people to come back and join hands and live together. I think that would be an incredible achievement if we can heal the wounds, because I think that's the more important thing to do right now.
Yes, I have
Yeah.
some
So hi.
suggestion related to that. So can Delhi government have some task force like some helicopters which can rescue people in such situation, or or even that something like which can throw water using helicopter, like in situation like this, and maybe some lot of spy cameras, like when we see situation like this arising, distributing in the area, and maybe trying to, because we don't have police in our control, maybe some spy cameras would help,
Yeah, I would
something like
appreciate
that.
everybody just suggest saying their name out because it's an audio call. We
Yes,
don't know.
please.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
question.
is Manish.
Okay, yeah, Preeti.
Let me explain something to you. When we tried
Okay.
installing CCTV cameras, we faced amazing hurdles. If we wanted
Right.
to put connected CCTV cameras, one is the refusal from the Delhi police to get involved in screening of the data, the refusal of the LG's office to allow us to have a connected CCTV footage. So we came up, we come up with smart solutions, and Gopal Mohan from Arvind Kejriwal's team came up with systems where there were cameras with their hard disk drives which were kept in lock in various houses right over there. They were kept in a locked cabinet in various houses right there. So if there was a CCTV camera, a house would be paid to keep a locked hard drive over there. So many of these cameras and hard drives have been destroyed, and so many have been taken into possession by Delhi police. So we are not even able to find that data back. So it's a huge challenge actually with Delhi police trying to obstruct our ability to see what is going on in the city all the time as well. It's a big challenge.
Then it should be bring into the media. It should be bring into the media, because if the police is doing that one, people should know that. The reason why I'm saying is people, because who will be the loser? The administration will be the loser. Believe me or not, because that's what what they want to achieve, they are achieving.
Yeah, so there is nothing. Well, Aam Aadmi Party has to figure out a way to, because media is also not supportive in our case.
Vijay, Arun, I have something to say.
Yes, Arun, go ahead.
So I got a video clipping from one of my persons in Delhi, and it shows the policeman breaking the video camera. So
yeah, we also.
I have that clipping. Yeah. So we need to take that policeman to court. We should not wait. We should take him to court and get him prosecuted.
Arun, we are not doing this. Police has to take them to court, and police is not going to take their own people to court. Preeti, yes. Preeti, yes, response to that.
So I think a lot of individuals, see, the Delhi government not filed cases but police officers, but we have been demanding for the same particular case. There are 3 cases. In one case, you can see police officers standing and watching while the rioters are, throwing stones and targeting a building. Then there is a second video where the police officers are picking up stones and throwing. And the third one is where they're breaking CCTV cameras. We have sent all these 3 to Delhi police and requested action on them. But obviously, like the way, it has even been taken into court, and Rahul Mehra has presented it to the court that there are cases which have to, and though Rahul Mehra is, representing Delhi police, he actually got rapped by the Attorney General that you are representing Delhi police, so please don't talk about the things that the Delhi police may not have done. But they're not willing to act, the way they changed the judge also in a day, they are not willing to act against their own, either the Delhi police or the BJP leaders. And what we have been seeing on TV channels is constant demonizing. They only talk about 2 people. They talk about Shah Rukh and Tahir Hussain, as if the whole riots were made by Tahir Hussain and nobody else killed anybody else.
Absolutely.
So the kind of machinery that we are fighting is very formidable, but we will try and do our best to try and get justice.
Absolutely. Most people are still not realizing that it's a state-sponsored genocide and not just a riot which has taken place between Hindus and Muslims, which AAP can interfere in. When the center itself is instrumental in something like this, there's very little that AAP government can do. But yes, do we have any more questions?
So technically, as per whatever is the United Nations definition of a genocide, it does not fit into that. This was a communal riot, but it was provoked by the ruling party, and there was complicit behavior by the Delhi police. So it was a communal riot, but it was provoked and abetted and fueled by the government. So that is quite right.
There was a report by Arun Vashne, who's an expert on terrorism, who said that the first day it was communal riot, but after that it was very much a genocide. By the third day it was very much a genocide. The first day it was like a skirmish between the 2 groups, but later it was. Anyway, do we have any more questions?
Yeah, Ashok here from Goa. Can I ask a question?
Yes, Ashok, go ahead.
Namaskar. I'm from Goa, currently in Arizona. I understand you are looking after the Maharashtra politics and a little bit of Goa politics also. So, can you tell me, what is your strategy to recruit volunteers and how to and social media, especially considering the language barrier?
So, firstly, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. What's your name?
Ashok Naik from Goa.
Ashok, hi. Aldona is a lovely place, and I hope to retire over there sometime. So, the strategy is definitely to get local volunteers from Goa. I think our experiment failed because most of us were outsiders who were trying to run and win and conduct an election in Goa. It doesn't work like that. It has to be the local people who take up the responsibility of running an election, of creating a political party. So I have been chatting with Atishi today itself. In fact, it's quite remarkable. I think if you go to see, Atishi is not only the only woman Prabhari of a state by Aam Aadmi Party. I don't think any other political party has made a woman in charge of a state, anybody, anywhere in India. I don't think the Congress or the BJP have ever given a woman the full charge of running and managing an entire state. So your state is very fortunate. It has the first lady Prabhari in charge of a state from any political party in India. And I'm sure she will do an incredible job of getting volunteers involved. Vijaya, you were talking about Maharashtra. I
Yes,
think that the biggest gap that we have in other states, and it's not just unique to Maharashtra, is that
right.
we don't have an active volunteer base. Most of the
Okay,
volunteers who are part of AAP Maharashtra are usually working people. They work Monday to Friday and they're available only on weekends or on evenings. They're not political workers. Very few people are full-time political workers.
right,
Almost everyone is part-time. So there has to be that change that we bring in where we attract young talent. We attract talent who is politically inclined enough to give full time, like the people in Delhi do or the people in Punjab do, which is missing in these states. And therefore, Gopal Rai ji has taken the initiative of allowing every state to contest local elections. I mean, I'll just give you a simple logic. That we are going to contest the Navi Mumbai municipal election, which is going to
right,
be in April this this in this year, just a month
right,
away.
right.
I don't think we'll make a remarkable difference over there. I don't think we are going to suddenly win or we are suddenly going to sweep. No. There are, in Maharashtra, the politics is complex. There is the Congress and the BJP, plus there is the Shiv Sena and the National NCP, the Rashtrabadi Party. Then they have the, we have a Manse, we have an RPI. So we have a lot of parties in Maharashtra, and it's a very complex political structure here. But
Right.
just imagine this. There are 111 wards. If in 111 wards we can field 111 candidates, and if each one of them has even 10 volunteers, we are talking about 1 lakh volunteers in that area. Okay?
Right.
So that is what I want to dream of. The reason why we are saying we'll fight local elections is whether we win or lose, if in every ward we can have 10 volunteers, that is a humongous amount of volunteers with which then we can credibly run an MLA election. If we could have 10 volunteers in each ward in Navi Mumbai, it would be amazing. We would have 10,000 volunteers, and 10,000 volunteers can happily and easily contest an assembly election. And Navi Mumbai area has 2 assemblies only in it. So it's a small area. It's not a big area. It's a winnable election also had we started earlier, because it's only 10,000 voters and only 50% really come and vote. So it's a 5,000 voter election. You can
Right.
win that election in 2,000, 3,000 votes. So it's quite winnable in that sense. We're going to make a good shot of it. We are contesting every local election where we feel we have even a small team presence. And I think that will help build cadre, because all other political parties have cadre in every state. We don't have that. And if you notice, parties like the BJP, which were there in Maharashtra, their presence was very minimal 6 years ago. In the
Right.
last 6 years, they fought local municipal elections. And of course, like Devendra Fadnavis loves to say that he used Kam Dam Dand Bhed. And in that process, they have built a cadre across Maharashtra. So even without the Shiv Sena cadre, now they have cadre. So local
Okay.
elections is the key of making a cadre, encouraging people to have local leadership, take local responsibilities, pick up local causes. And it has to be a pyramid which is very strong and huge at the base. Only then can you fight re-election successfully. So the whole
Mm.
focus of the party now is to contest Zilla Parishad as well as local municipal corporations, as well as even panchayat elections, so that we can have a person in every village. That is what we aspire to do.
Right. Preeti,
So
the thing
Vijay,
is, that was, yeah, that was my concern, that after the Delhi elections, we seem to have so much political capital, and then suddenly it all seems to have disappeared in the last few days. That was my concern also for the local body elections. The moment we announced plans to go national, something like this happens. I wonder if it was designed to disrupt that process, or was it really something which naturally happened? What do you think?
It could be either, but what I think is the issue of the Delhi communal riots is not something that affects the local municipal election. A
Okay.
local municipal election is fought on Bijli Pani, it is fought on, sadak, it is fought on uh, schools and colleges and such issues. It's very
Hopefully you're
local
right.
issues. So
Yeah.
our message when we are going to contest elections and when we are campaigning is that vote for us because we deliver you services. We can become a service provider. We will make sure that the local corporation is a service provider. We are not telling them that we are going to decide your larger values and ideals for you. We are not talking about those. We are saying vote for us because we work. We will deliver water to your homes. We will deliver cheap electricity. We will deliver healthcare and we will deliver better schools. So I think that we can stick to our agenda, and from what we've been doing door to door in Aurangabad and in Navi Mumbai, people are very positively inclined towards us. Whether they vote for us or not, usually people like to vote for the person who they think is likely to win.
Right.
But they don't. Nobody argues about the Delhi communal riots with us on the streets when you are actually taking the message door to door about local elections.
Well, that's a great bit of news because I think, BJP and Congress convinced voters, at least in Delhi, that, your security is much more important than the free Bijli Pani. So, that was the message. I think that was sought to be delivered through the riots. I don't know how far they have succeeded. So if Maharashtra is now talking about that, great news. Okay, do we have any more questions?
Hi, Preeti. Preeti, one observation and one question. So after the Delhi communal riots, there are three things. BJP is using the blatant use of the police and the judiciary and is coming out shamelessly. AAP has gone onto the defensive track. They are playing reactive. And Congress may not be doing anything on the ground, but principally is coming very good on this. This is the optics, this is the feeling, this is the perception across India, which I could gauge from my social media channels and my observations.
Okay.
My point is, in Delhi, people who are getting relief, they probably are understanding the more value of what AAP is doing rather than the people across, like Dr. Grewal also mentioned. And that fear of power, fear of it's not the point of control and the point of showing that yes, we are in a position of power. That matters a lot across India. So what are our concrete strategic point which we have decided to go for in the next 1 week or two? Because if we don't do that, I think the idea of panning across India, we would be delaying it.
I'm sorry, I would not be able to entirely comment on what the strategy is because I'm not in the PAC and therefore I don't know what the day-to-day strategy is. But our one focus is very clear that we do not want riots to happen in Delhi again, come what may. And therefore our entire right now weight is behind making Aman committees. We are making Aman committees in every gully, every mohalla. We are going to tackle all of Delhi, not just northeast and eastern Delhi. We are going to make Aman committees in every mohalla so that the moment there is a sign of violence, the local people can take charge and try and quell that violence immediately. That they can come together and stop that violence. People did it on their own as well. It's not that people didn't do it. We have so many stories where Muslims defended a temple or Hindus sheltered a Muslim family. So people are not bad intrinsically. People are willing to help people of other communities. They're willing to protect them. Now, we have to make it a systematic thing. And it has to be very local. It has to be in the gully, in the mohalla. Because outside help may not be able to reach them immediately. So our focus is that one focus I already told you is to ensure that rehabilitation is done so well that we win back the hearts of everyone who has been hurting because of this horrible and devastating event that has completely shattered their lives. So our biggest task is to rebuild their lives. That's one. The second task is to make Aman committees, which Saurabh Bharadwaj is leading, in every single lane of Delhi, so that if ever there is a situation where there is communal hatred being spread, these people can ensure that they are standing up to it, that they alert all the necessary. The Aman committees are trained that how will you call the police, how will you call the first responders, how will you call the fire brigades or the ambulances, where will you take shelter. So that entire training has started. I don't know whether you all remembered, there was a terrible riot that took place in Bhiwandi in India, near Mumbai. It really broke the city down completely. And there was one inspector, one IPS officer, Sanjay Pandey, I think his surname was. He is now a DIG. He is now in one of, I'm sure he's about to probably due to retire. He's very senior now. That remarkable gentleman made Aman committees, Aman Mohalla committees in all of Bhiwandi. And Bhiwandi has never burnt again. he made it a matter of life for them that you all have to come together, you all have to stand together. The training and the model he did, there's a book on it as well. I think that is the most successful way to ensure that riots don't take place. We never anticipated that they would, but now we know that they can. And therefore, the Delhi government will ensure that in the future, every lane, every mohalla is empowered enough to try and stop riots and get in touch with the first responders the moment they see the slightest escalation in hostility. So that is our strategy going forward. I don't know how much we can correct the perception on social media, but honestly, on the ground, there is no Congress at all.
Yeah,
Sure.
The Raman Committee is a wonderful idea, okay. But again, when we are talking, I specifically mentioned that it's a state-sponsored thing. We all could see that, we all can feel it. In that case, what is that empowerment we are talking about? Because people are coming from outside Delhi. People,
Right.
like 200 people come, let's say I myself or Grewal Saab or you, we can be more empowered to be the first responder, but we know what would be in that situation because we don't have guns, we don't have lathis. You understand? The fight is not between the two communities on the ground. The fight is between the Gunda material which has come from a certain point. They have come for killing. That is where I'm talking about.
But you know, wherever in Delhi you saw that the local mohalla came together and barricaded itself and refused to allow outsiders in, those mohallas survived. Okay, there are
Right.
enough mohallas where people turned around and told their Hindu neighbors, don't worry, we won't let them come in. And Hindus were told by Muslims, don't worry, we are not going to let them come in. And they protected them, each other, and they didn't let them come in. They didn't confront them. They didn't fight them. They just barricaded and did not allow outsiders to enter. So I think that what is the entire strategy of the Aman Committee, I don't know step by step, but it has worked in Bhiwandi. Okay, since that day to date, and Bhiwandi is a it used to be a very explosive place.
Preeti, again, I think Bhiwandi, it worked only because it was very much a Hindu-Muslim thing. There were no outside elements. I think that's why it worked. But yes, we will, I'm sure in the coming days, we'll have a better strategy. Yes, Dr. Grewal, continue.
Yeah, my point is, let me put it this way. Because what we need to do is, if we can do a hunger strike, all those things for the other reason. So now we have the video of those people who are police people who are helping them and doing those stuff. I think if the chief minister have no power to remove inspector by even, if I think we have to do a dharna, we should do that one. This is the right time to do that tool, because we should do that one. If we are not delivering the justice, then people will not believe us in the future.
Okay, Dr. Grewal. Okay, Preeti, the thing is, a lot of accusations that because Arvind Kejriwal is not speaking up against the police or against the complete breakdown of law and order, he's being looked at as a very weak leader. How would how would you clear this perception?
No, I don't have a solution to it. I don't have an answer to it. I think that what do you have? I think the role that our party has taken is a role of people who deliver good ones, and we are not getting involved and drawn into the Hindu-Muslim debate, and we are not going to take sides in that debate. That is the role that we have taken. I'm sure that at present it sounds very, very inept, and what I'm saying is that yes, at this time, Arvind's role which he has taken, his strategy of being not getting involved in the actual communal fire, but only working as a person whose job is to help people and to help their families, is not going down very well with the masses. But I usually have faith in Arvind because his strategy usually works out better than anything that we might think. I remember the night JNU was attacked. We were so furious. All of us wanted to run to JNU. But what Arvind said was right, that if you run to JNU, you're not going to be able to stop the people who are attacking the students. What you are going to be able to do is you're going to be able to provoke people, and they will say that you came and provoked people. So they said that since we don't have the power to use the police, and no, it is not legally possible or tenable or allowable for us to create our own army. We can't do that. And we can't have our own helicopters and marines landing in places. That's not possible. It sounds good to say, but ऐसा कुछ हो नहीं सकता. It is legally not possible. So he said that then we are going there and we are helpless. हम वहाँ जाके पुलिस से हाथ जोड़ेंगे. Police anyway, students का नहीं सुन रही है, तुम्हारा नहीं सुनेगी. The only thing that's going to happen is we are going to go there and create more hysteria. He said this is not a time to get involved. It is a time to go to AIMS and ensure that the children get treatment, and then later on take this issue up. So I think somewhere we must trust his judgment. because it is more sensible, and we tend to react very emotionally and hysterically. Arvind has a more long-term view. He's got the party so far. I think you have to have faith that he will take the party further. I have that faith for sure. I am quite
No,
sure that Arvind has
we have a faith,
a
but the
plan
thing is,
which works. Every time Arvind takes a decision, when it is whether it is about a person, whether it is about Rajya Sabha tickets, we always question Arvind. And many of us have even gone and said कि हाँ अरविंद ने पैसे में राज्यसभा टिकट बेच दिया. I mean 60,000 crore हमारे गवर्नमेंट का बजट है. 60,000 crore 8% भी चोरी कर लिया तो that is 600 crores. He doesn't need to sell a seat at 10 crores. He needs to steal 1% of the total budget of the government. He didn't do that. Now वहाँ से 8% लिया तो वो 10 crore क्या लेगा बंदा? He is that man. I think has a strategy which always works out. You say it was wrong, but the kind of work N.D. Gupta ji and Sushil Gupta ji are doing, they are incredible people, and they are working non-stop for the party. So I think that we have to keep the faith in trying times. Okay, when things look absolutely bleak, yes, it is very good to have an open discussion, but I think you should not let the Congress ecosystem scare you so much. It is a Congress ecosystem. There are people who had to not overtly support the Congress because Congress was obviously at fault because of the because of the corruption and because of their lack of performance. And now that they've got a chance to, give it to Aam Aadmi Party, they're giving it in large measure. But this too shall pass. I have faith it shall. And I think that the good work that we are doing and the Amat committees will be able to heal the wounds and will be able to ensure that another such riot does not take place. So I think that we should trust his judgment.
Okay. Apologies, Preeti, that you're the first leader to come after the riots, and so you're facing all these questions on Delhi riots. I'm so sorry for that, because I, as a person from Mumbai, definitely want to know what's happening in Maharashtra rather than the Delhi riots. But apologies, and that like that, I think the emotions are still very.
I understand. We are friends chatting, and we can chat about every topic.
Yes, hi, this is Asim here. So Preeti ji, what is your one ask from the NRI community? How can the NRI community help you in Maharashtra? That is one. And what are some of the local issues which you see in Maharashtra which need to be highlighted or taken up at a higher vocal level?
So I'll answer the second one, which is easier. The biggest problems in Maharashtra are health and education. Of course, there is the agrarian crisis, but that's not something that there can be any, a Zilla Parishad or a local municipal corporation can take any initiative to sort that. But health and education, Vinod Tavre shut down 1,300 government schools when the BJP was in power in the last term. Health is abysmal here. It is non-existent beyond cities like Mumbai. People come and lie on the streets outside big hospitals in Mumbai because that is the only place where they will get treatment, or they all just go to private healthcare. So health and education are two issues which I think we are going to go into the local elections with. Those are our two major issues, and those two things need correction. Besides, of course, cleanliness, which is an important issue, but which somehow the people of Maharashtra don't resonate with. आप उनको बोल दो कि आप उनके रास्ते साफ कर देंगे, उनके टॉयलेट बना देंगे, nobody thinks that अच्छा इसके लिए आपको वोट दी जाए. But I think education is something that every family is affected by. They are affected by on a day-to-day basis, and therefore that will get under support. What I would request from the NRI community is to be more active on social media with whatever connect that they may have in whichever town. If you know people from Pune, if you know from Nagpur, and help us get people to join the party. Give me suggestions. My phone is available. If you think I should approach anybody, whether they are an activist, whether they are a media person, whether they are another person from another political party, but you think we should go and request them to join the Aam Aadmi Party because they are good human beings, I will do that. So my biggest need right now is people working for Maharashtra. Maharashtrians working for Maharashtra, and we are not able to reach out to as many people. So anybody you know, please always ask them to join the party. And if you need me to go and meet them, I will go and meet them. I will ensure that they join the party if you can just even give me a lead.
Okay, that's great.
And
so regarding the Maharashtra, regarding the Maharashtra cadre building point which you just raised, I had one suggestion. I am in touch with several environmental organizations in Maharashtra, and they have been activists trying to protect several forest lands from encroachment and protect some tribal lands from encroachment. And so I mean, they've also been active in the RA forest movement and things like that. Uh, would you would you like to know their contacts? They want to get more politically connected, and if AAP can present itself as a green party in Maharashtra, such activists would be likely to join this movement. Is that a good
Certainly.
idea?
Absolutely. I have been at the forefront of the RA movement personally since 2012. We've
Mm-hmm.
been fighting for that issue day-to-day basis. We've been fighting for issues of tiger protection in Maharashtra, forest protection. So I'd be happy, and yes, you're right. We'll be happy to declare our agenda as a green agenda. That Aam Aadmi
Yes.
Party leadership and Aam Aadmi Party local bodies will always follow the environmental agenda that a common minimum program which all
Perfect.
activists can agree on.
Yeah,
So I'd be
yeah.
happy to lead
Absolutely.
them.
Yeah, that suggestion has
Vidya,
been
it's
put to
Vishnu.
AAP leaders whenever they are on the call, that we should project ourselves as a green party, because I think we are doing maximum for environment. And so I think it's high time we did that. Okay, do we have any more questions?
Thanks. First of all, Preeti, thank you for your honesty, and also appreciating that the fact that we're not bucks and we don't agree with everything, and we have a place of dissent in our party. My question was, we had a gentleman from the Maharashtra team during the assembly election, and he was saying that he went to almost all the taluks in Maharashtra, and although they weren't voting for us, everybody was aware of the Aam Aadmi Party's positive agenda on education and electricity. Now that Aditya Thackeray is talking about implementing those policies in Maharashtra, do we have a mechanism to kind of go to the rural areas to let them know that they're copying our model, so that they know in the future if they want the original, we can actually get the original people who implemented these things?
Okay. Okay.
And
Yeah,
also
Preeti.
the second question is, how do we as an
Honestly,
urban party
Yeah, go ahead, Vishnu.
appeal
Finish,
to
finish.
how do we as an urban party appeal to farmers? You are from a big state, so a lot of farming community. How do we appeal, since we are more of a metropolitan mindset?
Yeah, Preeti.
so that is absolutely a disadvantage in Maharashtra. We are not seen as a farmers' party. We are seen as an urban party. We don't have too much. Though our convener Ranga Rachure is a farmer himself, but we are not really seen as an urban party, and it's a fact that we are. Our cadre largely comes from places like Mumbai, Nashik, Pune, Aurangabad, Nagpur. We are an urban party. I think that it is important for the AAP in Maharashtra to inspire and invite farmer leaders. They are called Shetkari leaders here. And there is a huge Shetkari Sangathan. It has many factions, but they have many leaders. It is very important for us to attract their leadership to join the party. Shetkari Sangathan is it's not a political party. It is the political front for the rights of farmers, but it's not political. So I think that the biggest task that I see in front of me after the local municipal elections is the second task, to get farmer leaders to join AAP Maharashtra, because they have a reach even in the absence of social media. They have a very person-to-person reach in this vast state. And those are the people we have to attract, and we have to give leadership positions.
Okay, Preeti, one question from me too. Like, we have seen many ups and downs in Maharashtra. A lot of activists we did manage to attract in the beginning, and they have left us. How to keep a stability? We have gone through a lot of ups and downs, even in leadership. People going, people coming. So how it needs to stabilize at some point. How do you plan to achieve that?
Sadly, we don't see too many people coming. We only see people going. That's the tragedy of Maharashtra. And we need to stabilize that. But now that Durgesh Pathak is our Prabhari, he is very actively involved in ensuring that people who come are given an enough independent role so that they can feel that they are politically relevant. Earlier, I think perhaps there was not so much clarity in the party on how to run state units. But now there is much more clarity. And Prabharis like Durgesh give you full freedom to do what you want to. We had got full freedom to fight assembly elections. We chose ourselves how many seats we want to fight. We chose our candidates. The PSC only gave approvals, which was a technicality because they trusted us and they let us do what we want to. So I think the party is coming of age in terms of trusting state leadership. So we may not see so much attrition as we have in the past. But what we definitely require is more talent. We require leadership. I always keep trying to tell our people have a sense of threat. They feel threatened when new people join. And I keep
Right.
trying to tell them, it's a very typical example which I'll give you also, कि अगर मैं अपनी घर की बहू को घर की चाबियां नहीं दूंगी तो मेरा वंश कभी बढ़ेगा नहीं. I have to get a daughter-in-law into my house. I have to trust her that she will get in some new values, she will learn some of my values, and she will grow my family. If I'm so scared that I will never get a daughter-in-law into my household, my family is never going to grow. So जिस तरह से हम घर में बहू लाते हैं, and we trust her and we make her part of our family, that is the way we have to get other leaderships into the party. We have to trust people, whatever background they are coming from. Because frankly, in this party, it's very difficult to survive. हमें ना
Right.
पैसा मिलता है, ना चैन मिलता है, ना कोई रिवॉर्ड मिलता है. So if somebody
Right.
sticks in this party, hats off to them and on to all of us for being here. Because we are not
Right.
gaining anything out of it other than a dream that, yeah, one day we will be seeing a better country. So we should trust people who are coming in. We should trust them with responsibilities. I'd be happy to vacate my seat for somebody else who is, I feel, more valuable to the party. So that is the feeling that must come from the volunteers of AAP Maharashtra. Because as long as we are in a small pond, it doesn't matter if we are a big fish. We need a
Right.
bigger pond. We need it to become a sea of people. And that's when we will be able to make a difference. So that is a message which you should try and encourage people to believe in, that let people join. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या होगा? गलत निकलेंगे तो फिर डिवोर्स हो जाएगा. लेकिन इसका मतलब ये थोड़ा ना है कि बंदा शादी नहीं करेगा. शादी तो करनी पड़ेगी ना. We have to try it out. So let people come. Let us encourage people to join our family. And we'll take it as it goes. We'll try and make room for them.
Okay. Okay. So we are almost at the end of our call. Any one
One
last
last
question?
question.
Yes, I have one question. Regarding the marshals in Delhi, do you think the legality of setting that up into all mohallas, or do we have that or not? Because that I see one of a step from the defense side which AAP could take. Do you know about that?
Yes. So what we did not have the permission was, we wanted to make a Mahila Suraksha Dal, which was
Right.
going to be made. It had required permission from the LG and the police. They both refused. So 13,000 marshals in 13,000 mohallas is our solution to that. We are definitely going to have the marshals in the mohallas. We have studied the legality. We can do that ourselves, and we are going to go ahead and do that because
So-
they didn't allow us to
Yeah,
have
so-
the women.
Right.
Okay.
So on that, I have two suggestions more along with this. One thing is regarding the CCTV and the hard disk point which you maintained. I think these need to come out from the AAP social media cell with more facts and more concrete information, because this is also questioning that कहाँ गए CCTV इतने सारे लगाए थे. So once this comes out, people will start connecting the dots also. That's number one. And the second thing is the relief work which we are doing. I think Arvind and team is doing phenomenal work, and this was supposed to be the strategy at ground. What we are talking about, what to be do for the future for that offense side. So that relief thing need to be marketed well. That is not coming out from that perspective. As a unity, we are doing a lot of work. Like for example, the water rained and the beds were under flooding, but the next day the folding bed comes. But that is never a message came. So people are just picking up the first message. See, after rain, these right people are living like it. So I guess like our marketing team was doing during the election, there was thousands of videos which were circulated. I think we need to have our marketing team back, bring out this relief work, bring out this CCTV thing work. If Aam Aadmi Party is deciding they don't want to do it from the party handle, enable the the environment, enable the volunteers in that way. Because if we don't do that, if it becomes a matter after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, this will remain a long-lasting impression that at the time of fire, we were probably, हम अपने हाथ सेक रहे थे. We were not trying to.
Yeah. We had another question also. Somebody was asking a question.
Yes. You said something about difficulties in building a farmer leadership and rural cadre. We see that the left front in Maharashtra has been very active in mobilizing so many farmer movements that have attracted attentions of hundreds and thousands of farmers.
Right.
Could we somehow, and they also align with us with our agenda on healthcare, education, equitable society, etc. So could we reach common grounds with the left front, who already have a significant farmer base, and we have this urban model which has been proven in Delhi?
Okay, yeah, Preeti.
So I'll tell you the truth about the left farm base. Okay, the left has great ability to mobilize because they have an entrenched network of people all across the state, and ours is a very vast state. The difference between Bombay to Gadchiroli is 1,200 kilometers. So
Absolutely.
ours is geographically even bigger than Uttar Pradesh. So they may have a larger population, but we are very vast. So
Mhm.
left does have the ability to mobilize, but none of the people that it mobilizes for its farmer marches ever vote for the left. They
Mhm.
are not their voter base. Okay,
Mhm.
they have the attachment to of various sangatans, and that is what we need to build in our own ecosystem. Because aligning with the left or the left liberal, I don't know whether you all understand this and whether you all have sensed it. There has been a feeling created by the left liberals that if you are a Hindu, you're part of Hindutva. You are a terrorist.
Right.
It's like literally, my name
Absolutely.
is Khan, so I'm a terrorist. If you are a Hindu, you are part of some Hindutva gang. And I have to
Absolutely.
actually start shouting and saying that if a Muslim can do his prayers 5 times a day, a Hindu can also do her prayers. It doesn't change this. This country is deeply religious. You know, whether it is Sikhs, Catholics, Hindus, or Muslims in this country, everybody carries their religion on their sleeve.
Mhm.
The moment you start making Hindus feel threatened, and they feel threatened by the left, they feel left is an atheist. Everyone feels threatened by the left because they feel they're anti-religion.
Mhm.
It doesn't give a very good image to us. So left के साथ alignment करके हमारा कोई gain नहीं है because they're politically non-existent today. Personally, they're good friends of mine, most of the left leadership. We
Mhm.
need to build the same capabilities as they have in mobilization and reaching out to small organizations and, weaving them into a thread. That is the
Mhm.
ability that we need to learn from them. But political alignment with the left will be very damaging in a country which is very deeply religious and looks on to the left with great suspicion.
I'm glad, Preeti, you brought that up because Saurabh's chanting Jai Bajrang Bali seems to have also made Congress also given an advantage even to people like Yogendra Yadav who have claimed that we are definitely soft Hindutva. So I'm glad you brought that up. That just because you wear religion on your sleeves does not make you a Hindutva. You can be a good Hindu and still not want to hurt a Muslim. I'm glad that came out. Yes, somebody had a question.
I think Muslims don't mind us being overtly Hindu because they are overtly Muslim. Muslims don't have any problem with us being religious. They have a problem with Hindutva, but I also have the same problem with Hindutva. Because
Right.
Hindutva is a people hating, they're a people hating machine, they're a people hating factory, they're a hate creating factory. So they have nothing to do with my religion is what we all need to stand out and say. I am a Hindu, and I said that on debate. In one debate, I told Maria Shakil from the CNN, she called me that now that you are also part of the Hindutva. I said, no, you can't say that. I said, I am a Hindu, but that doesn't mean that I have anything to do with Hindutva. It's like I'm a Muslim, I'm not a terrorist. And that is something that we need to get addressed. I think Saurabh, I don't think I can entirely support what Saurabh did. It's not that what he did. It's just that it has to come out from the right mouth. Tomorrow, if Preeti starts saying that she is going to do, some part every week, you all will laugh at me. Because that's not what you expect out of Preeti. But if Rajesh Gupta or Pawan Sharma or Ajay Dutt do it, yes, because they practice their religion quite overtly. So when somebody who practices their religion overtly, and Arjun does, because Sunita is very religious, she keeps visiting everybody from Sri Ravi Shankar to Jain priests and everybody. So she's a very religious, spiritual person. So when somebody like that practices religion overtly, nobody minds because they always do it. When people like Preeti and Saurabh do it, it'll look a bit awkward because for us religion, we are private in our religion. So I think somewhere we should be also measured. We should also be careful. We should not do unnatural things. It is natural for people to go to temples. They must go to temples and do whatever that they usually do. But nobody should start doing unusual things because that does create some kind of dissonance. So we are also learning. Actually, I think it's getting to everybody's head that the moment you say you're Hindu, the entire Congress ecosystem jumps onto us. Oh, that means you are BJP's B team. So you've given all Hinduism to BJP. When did BJP become the ownership of my 5,000-year-old religion? It has nothing to do with me.
We need to reclaim all the symbolisms that BJP has taken from us, including the Bharat Mata Ki Jai. It's the nationalism, everything that they've changed the conversation.
It actually became an issue of debate. Whereas, from IAC times, Arvind always begins every speech, he will say Bharat Mata Ki Jai twice. He will say Inqilab Zindabad twice, and then he will say Vande Mataram twice. And on the IAC stage in Ramlila Maidan was Bharat Mata. If you recall the stage, if you recall the visual, where Anna used to sit, unke piche Bharat Mata ki tasveer thi. So Bharat Mata is something that was always part of everybody's, and it was not a Hindu-Muslim thing. It was just a patriotic thing. They've made
Right.
it now a very RSS thing, and we need to take it back from them. So, yeah, we need to
Absolutely.
reclaim our religion, but we should not create more differences. So, it's a very tightrope to walk, and I think
Absolutely.
Arvind is the man best suited to walk it.
This
Okay.
is Pankaj. May I please make a
Yes,
comment?
yes,
I
yes,
know we are
Pankaj. We have to make an exception for you. Yes, Pankaj.
so nice of you. Thank you. I just wanted to say that I think both the parties, Congress and BJP, are going to do their level best to pull us into their terrain, and
Absolutely.
paint us in the color of identity politics. And
Right.
we have to do whatever it takes to stay out of that. And this is a feedback I'm getting even from all of my Muslim friends also, that our survival and our existence is dependent on staying above identity politics and sticking to the politics of, if you do vote for me, I will vote. And I think that is what Preeti Menon just in summary, this is what you highlighted. But I would like to validate. We all get caught up in emotions that we are not reacting. I think if we have 100 people on the ground, all these 100 people on the ground should help with rehabilitation of the families that have been hurt so badly. That is the work that we need to do. That is the work that we need to absolutely focus on. The rest of
Right.
it is all noise, and we don't have to deal with that noise right now. Let's just get those families back on track. Let's just do the right.
Thanks a lot, Preeti, for coming on the call. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, for me personally too, and you know the reason why. Thanks again.
I think I'm
And
going to
just
expose that reason. I would like to share with all of you that Vijay and I are childhood friends. You all have all been very
Vijay,
kind. I take your suggestions respectfully, and I'll always be grateful that sitting so far away, you are so concerned about what's happening here. Most people just get so involved in their personal lives that they don't care about their country and the future of humanity. And you do, and it is an honor to be one amongst all of you.
yes, Preeti, do come to our call as often as you can. We need a positive voice, sometimes to address. And I'm so glad you came at this point when we need to heal the most. So, thanks a lot for that positivity. And we will do whatever we can to help you in your local elections as well. Thanks a lot.